Welcome to a Chat with Heart podcast. I'm your host, Christina Martin. I'm here to help guide heartfelt conversations with new and old friends I've met from just being alive or touring my music around North America and other parts of the world. I chat with people I feel a kinship with and that I genuinely believe we can learn from. Our personal stories have great power to heal, influence, and inspire. All we have to do is show up for the conversation.
If we just talk about it, we could shine a light, we could break a dark day. If we just talk about it, we can cut away, we can make a brighter day.
It feels like we haven't chatted in a while. You know why? It's been super busy. I guess I'm still working on working. You know what I mean? We went to the East Coast Music Awards in Halifax for a whole week and a bit. I got to play twice with my band and had a lot, like 22 fun meetings with festival bookers and music supervisors who play songs in film and television. And I ran into so many friends at the East Coast Music Awards. I really love being in the city. The energy was buzzing. Yeah, anyway, the whole week got my head kind of back into the game, my game of, making things happen in my music career. Because it's been on and off a struggle coming out of the pandemic, when before I just was going so hard for so long and had this momentum and like I couldn't be stopped, and then everything stopped and I think I kind of crashed, as a lot of people did. So yeah, the ECMAs was really rejuvenating, and it wasn't like an album year for me. Like I didn't have nominations because it wasn't anything new that I had submitted. But I felt it was important to participate and submit for showcasing leading up to a new album. And it was kind of part of my bigger plan, So I'm really glad I did it. I actually, a year ago, submitted and was accepted for showcasing. And I backed out. I just wasn't like fit for some reason. The timing, everything about it was like, don't go, don't do it. And maybe that was a mistake, but I don't regret it. It's just that certainly wasn't like me. That's not something I would have done in the past. So it felt really good to go and give it our best. And we had a great time. The band did fantastic. And it was just really great to not go into this with this same kind of anxiety or panic that is kind of a lot of us have been experiencing, or I have been anyway, throughout the pandemic. Felt like old times. So yeah, I've been ongoing. I mean, I think about this a lot, like having faith in the unknown and believing in myself when my mind is really challenging me with like negative self-talk and fear-based thoughts and imposter syndrome. And I've just been trying to focus on like facts. Like, what do I know to be true about my abilities? What I believe I'm capable of. What do I want to do? And also like thinking about things I've done in my life already, instead of believing like, oh, you can't do that, or who do you think you are? Kind of buying into that vicious cycle that doesn't seem to ever go away. It's like, oh, how do I just I know that's there, but I really just pour my faith into, no, wait a second, I got this. Like, these are things I can actually do and achieve, and here are the steps, and I'm acting responsibly. I'm going to go and do this now. So yeah, as hard a time as I've been having moving forward with certain things, I also have to remind myself I'm continuing to create and collaborate and make beautiful things from nothing, so I can stop being hard on myself. I've always had trust issues, but I have to have trust that my heart isn't lying to me, and I have to trust in the process. I have to have faith that something good will come of the work I'm doing, even though it may not always feel comfortable or good, I have to have trust. And I have to remember that as long as like my actions are fueled with like kindness and good intention, and the people around me, we respect each other, we love each other, it's all fucking good. Okay. Jeez, I'm so glad I got that off my chest. Anyway, I had a dream as part of my new album marketing plan to design unique merchandise items. I knew I wanted to make custom puzzles and custom temporary tattoo packs. That's all I wanted for merch, apart from CDs and vinyl, which I've also got coming. But I'm not doing t-shirts. I'm not doing like whatever other traditional merchandise items are. I'm doing CDs, vinyl, with beautiful lyric books and artwork. Custom limited edition puzzles, 5 different puzzles that feature the single and the album cover artwork, and these beautiful little packaged temporary tattoo storm packs. And it was all so much work. It wasn't cheap, but I followed my heart, and it's here. Now I have to just chill out and have faith that people will want these fun, beautiful items because they're really special to me, and they're totally linked to the music. And it's totally okay if, they don't sell out or sell like hotcakes. Like, it was just really fulfilling to, see that project come to completion. And now these items live on my Bandcamp, and I don't regret a thing. End of story. Not really. It feels like the beginning. The temporary tattoo packs are now available on my Bandcamp for purchase, and I'll have them at my future shows, as well as my limited edition puzzles. Well, no, that's not true. The puzzles will actually only be available on Bandcamp and like local shows, because I cannot carry these things around with me. I'll probably sit on them and destroy them or something. Yeah, but I think it's all limited edition. Like, I don't think I'll be making any more. I'm kind of tired of storing CDs and merch, and I think it's okay to just have a set amount and then let it run out and move on to new music and other unique items down the line, So get your goods while you can. Visit my Bandcamp, and pretty soon I will have the pre-order links for the CDs and vinyl up. Maybe they'll be up by the time this airs, if not soon after. And I'll ship any of the new album stuff you order with a personalized thank you postcard. And the postcards, God, you're going to get sick of me talking about this. The postcards are also printed on wildflower seed paper. Am I an overachiever? Absolutely. Honestly, I don't know if these seeds really grow wildflowers. Like, I've not tested them. I hope they grow something, but maybe you want to keep my postcard and you don't want to plant it. That's also fine. But know that in 100 years, after we're all dead and our belongings are decomposing, my postcard to you might grow a flower that might feed an animal. So together, you and me are saving the world by buying my merch. How was that pitch? Okay, this episode is super fun because it's unique in that I was lying down while recording it, while being hand-poked by Hilary Wood, who does tattoos at Bliss Tattoo in Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island. Okay? I've been thinking for a very, very, very long time that I wanted finger tattoos, and this kind of came up over the last couple of years when I started thinking about wanting to design the temporary tattoo packs. And yeah, I saw Hilary's work online, and she was willing to do the hand tattoos, and she does a great job at them. And so I tried her out, and this episode, she's actually doing the touch-ups. So my second trip over, which is on fingers, quite common to have a touch-up, particularly with the hand-poking technique for tattooing. Anyway, we get into it all. So if you're on the fence about getting a tattoo, or you already love getting tattoos and you just want a really amazing another experience, have a listen to this episode and share it with your friends. And yeah, who knows, maybe book a date to go on a trip to be hand poked by Hilary Wood at Bliss Tattoo. I'm here with Hilary, and we're at Bliss Tattoo. That is the name of your place, right?
Yes.
I didn't want to get that wrong. But it is a very blissful place.
Bliss has been my favorite word since I was a kid.
Oh, yeah?
And that's why I picked Bliss. But it's actually, like, I've had a few clients, a number of clients who have finished a tattoo and they're like, this is blissful. And I'm like, that works.
It is very blissful. I might have been nervous coming the first time because I haven't had tattoos in a while and I didn't know you. But I was still excited. And now this time coming for the touch-up, I'm really happy and, like, I have no fears. No fears. Yeah.
So I'll get you to hop up.
Okay.
Either side is good.
What is this? This is a massage table. So this is the follow-up visit, and I'm going to assume that it's a little more relaxed because you don't, there's no guesswork for this one.
Yeah.
It's or not guesswork, but.
How long did we take just doing the stencils last time?
Ooh, the stencils was probably, because let's see, there were 8 little tattoos and we had to get the size right and the placement right. And it probably took us an hour and a half.
Yeah, I'd say.
And then I was here for a full, was it 4.5 or longer hours?
I don't remember. It was something like that.
I got cozy. Maybe we could get the sound of the needle stabbing me a million times. Or we could, inject that somehow.
Yeah, I actually can hear it sometimes.
Oh, yeah?
Do little, almost I don't want to say popping sounds. It sounds gross, but...
That does sound gross, but,
Yeah, people are like, is that my skin? I'm like, yes.
Maybe we could... I'll hold it up at some point, yeah.
It doesn't really do it on fingers that much.
You could just poke another part of me. I don't... until you get a sound. This is feeling great. So when you first started, you notice the needle, but it's not like, oh my God, it hurts. It's more like a prick. Mm-hmm. As if maybe you're reaching for a rose and you prick your finger with the thorn for a second. Yeah. But because I know you're not trying to kill me, I'm not going to pull my hand back and then you're repeating it. So it just doesn't bother me. It becomes this sort of kind of, almost, I don't know what this sounds like, but relaxing. It's kind of relaxing.
No, you're not the first person who's described it like that.
I want to talk about hand poking and using a tattoo machine. What are the differences and why did you decide to hand poking? That's what it's called, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm
hand poke or stick and poke. The terms are interchangeable. Hand poke to me sounds a little more professional. I think that's why I use it a bit more. Mm-hmm. But yeah, tattoo machines use electricity, and so the electricity moves the needle itself. Whereas with hand poking, you're just holding the needle and you're manually poking dot by dot into the skin. I got into hand poking kind of randomly, and it was the fact that it is hand poking is what made me drawn to it. I feel like there's less of a learning curve and it's a little more accessible for people to kind of try out tattooing. Mm-hmm. Tattoo machines are definitely intimidating, even for me still. I haven't used one. I might in the future, or I might kind of throw it in the mix with some larger pieces at some point, but for now I'm really happy with hand poking, and a lot of my clients, well, dare I say most of my clients are just, they like having an alternate way to get tattooed. Because my studio mate and I, we were the first, you know, quote unquote professional hand pokers on the island. So no one had been able to have an experience like this at an actual tattoo shop. So it was really great just to bring it to the island and give people the choice of having one or the other, really.
Have you had the other?
Yes, most of my tattoos are the other.
Mm-hmm.
I started getting machine tattoos like when I was, 15 or 16.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, I would say, 85% of my tattoos are machine. And I think I just kind of stick to that now because they're kind of all the same vibe, the same style. So I don't really mix in the more simple fine line hand poke as much.
Mm-hmm. That's what I like about my finger tattoos, though. The fine line. But it was just a style. Like I saw this on your Instagram. And for what I was looking for my hands, I was like, that's perfect. Is there a time, like, is it faster with the machine?
A lot faster.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's like, it kind of depends on the client, right? I can do a lot of the same, style tattoos that a machine could if it's kind of, a little more simple, kind of line work. But where something might take them 15 minutes, it might take me 45 to an hour. So if clients are willing to kind of sit through the longer session to get a hand poke, that's great. And a lot of people do choose that. I have a lot of clients who have always gotten machine or have gotten a machine tattoo in the past, and they're like, that's not for me. And they come try out hand poke, and they're like, this is it for me. This is what I love, and I'm never going to go back to machine, or like I'm going to, get most of mine hand poke from now on.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of like, for anyone who has never had a tattoo and is nervous, because I love getting tattoos. I don't have that many. Well, I guess now I have 8, 9, 10, 11. But, for somebody who's like afraid of needles, what would you say to them?
I guess with anything that people may be nervous about, I think, like, for myself included, if I'm nervous with something, I want to have the most information on it as possible.
Yeah.
Like, I want to know what the process is, what it's going to look like, what it's going to feel like in the sense of a vibe, I guess.
Yeah.
And so that's why I try to, like, make my website and my social media kind of, people can kind of see what their experience might be like or get a feeling for what the shop is like through my socials and through my website. And I try to put like so much information on my website that people are just like, any question they have, they can find an answer for it.
Yeah.
That can kind of like quell any fears they might have. And yeah, just keeping like open lines of communication. Like, I won't know that someone's nervous unless they tell me, right?
Yeah.
And with needles specifically, a lot of the times we'll like check with people like, hey, can I open these needles in front of you? Or like, can I rock these needles in front of you? Or we'll do it like, kind of below the bed, or you'll look away, or
yeah, like I'm actually not watching you poke me right now.
Yeah.
Hand poke. Because I don't like to see needles really entering skin, but I don't mind the feeling of it. I know it's there.
A lot of people are the same.
I will say that there was so much that I really appreciated about the process before, like how you set everything up, your openness before I came in, because that's important to me too. Like I wanted to be able to see before coming in, because I don't always trust myself in the moment making a decision, like the people pleaser in me sometimes will be like, I guess I'll just get this done, and they like it. And so being able to see the designs before was really helpful and got me excited and calmed my nerves about it. But you were also incredibly open to like the style, the design, like and you asked me like, is there anything you want me to change? I didn't even like, it was just nice that you offered all of that.
Yeah.
Do you think sometimes that's not the case?
That it's like not nice to offer that?
No, I just mean like, do you think sometimes people are not always given those options or feel comfortable?
Yes, absolutely. I think that's kind of the way the industry runs a lot of the time.
Like you get what you get?
Yep. Mm-hmm. It's really common for you not to see the design you're getting until you get into the appointment. And like, it's not like a 100% bad, awful thing, but I just think that it does help if I show you the design beforehand. And I usually only just show my designs like a day or two beforehand because that's when I draw them usually.
Yeah. That's what we did.
Yeah. And like, I don't know, it just, if I drew something and then the client came in and they hated it, two things would happen. I'd have to either sit there and take a bunch of time redrawing it, or they would lie and say they liked it and then walk out with something that they hated.
Yeah.
Which is awful and horrible, and I hope that never happens. So that's why I like to personally, show the designs beforehand and have like try to ask like open-ended questions about them too. Because I feel like people are just, they feel obliged to be like, yeah, I love it, awesome, like right away.
Yes.
And through email, it's a bit easier to say, no, I don't like it, or can you change this?
Yeah. I certainly appreciated it. Tell me about when you first were starting like to set this up. Like, what was that like? Like, were you nervous or were you just excited or?
I was definitely nervous. I mean, I kind of started on like friends or, acquaintances who I kind of knew and, not total strangers. But the word of mouth just really got around. And so, the more and more people that contacted me, I was like, oh my God, like, why are these people letting me put permanent things on their body? Like, I just started this, like I wasn't fantastic. My lines weren't very straight and it was like anybody just starting out. But I had a lot of willing people, and I don't know, I look back on those people a few years ago who had those kind of first Bliss tattoos, and I think like it's like a little piece of my history. Like I don't see them anymore as like, oh my God, what like a bad tattoo, or I could have done that better now, or it's like, no, I don't know, if I had someone's like first tattoo, I think I'd feel like proud of it in a way, I guess. And I have some clients who I tattooed back then and I still tattoo them now, and it's cool to see like how far I've come with the tattoos like side by side. So yeah, I was definitely nervous, and I definitely struggle a lot with imposter syndrome still to this day.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
That just goes, to show like a lot of people who are doing the thing that, they wanted to do or like living the dream still have like struggles. And, it's not that those fears necessarily ever go away. They may quiet down, but it's sort of about just how do you just continue to show up and work through the fear? Like the fear doesn't necessarily disappear entirely.
Yep. You just learn to manage it a bit better.
Yeah, that's the cool thing about getting older is I was afraid of everything last time this new thing happened. And I did it anyway, and I didn't die.
Yes.
So
true.
Yeah. So what about when people ask you about, like people who are afraid of the sight of blood? Is there a lot of blood?
No, there's, I would say, like, little to no blood all the time. Some people are, like, bleeders, I guess.
Yeah.
So they'll, like, I'll see, like, a little more blood than normal, but it's like little tiny droplets.
Okay.
Like I'll poke and like a little tiny bit of blood will come up. But, you know, even that, like, it's basically nothing.
I can feel you wiping away stuff, but that's probably just ink?
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I put, like, so when I put the ink on the needle and put it in your skin, it almost, like, spreads a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So then I wipe it away, and that can show me, like, the line that I just made, and I can go over again if I need to.
Ooh, let's chat tattoo aftercare. Because this is important, and I want to know why. Because mine apparently look amazing, so I've done a good job. But you do a great job of letting your customers know exactly what not to do and what to do. But can you walk my little heartbeat listeners through tattoo aftercare, just so they know that, you know, there's a few things you got to pay attention to.
Yeah. I would say, like, number one, you can't go into water. Like, you can't have your tattoo submerged in water for a couple weeks after you get it. So it's a bad idea to try to book a tattoo appointment before a trip, you know, down south, or, like, you know, if you're an avid swimmer. Or we kind of slow down in the summer because a lot of people don't want to get tattoos in the summer because they go to the beach every weekend. So I would say right off the bat, that's kind of, like, something I always mention. And in all my emails in the summer, I always put something at the bottom that says, like, P.S.
Yeah.
You can't go to the beach if you get this tattoo. So,
yeah.
But that being the main thing when booking an appointment to kind of think about. But just for basic aftercare, the bandage that your tattoo artist puts on you, and they should always put, you know, some sort of a bandage on you. The artist will always give you their own aftercare instructions, and it does differ from artist to artist. And some people are like, you know, how can aftercare differ? But every body is different, and so I feel like artists kind of usually go with what has worked for them. And then obviously, like, we trust our clients to give a little bit of leeway with what their own body is showing them, right? So, you know, once you take the bandage off after a couple days at home, then you have to be really good at washing your new tattoo at least, you know, 1 to 3 times a day with a fragrance-free, gentle soap, and clean it, you know, really well, but gently, and dry it with a paper towel, no like washcloths or anything like that. And for your tattoos in particular, because they're on your fingers, it's a little bit harder.
It was hard.
Yeah.
Let's just get that out of the way. I was so paranoid. I was like, I'm gonna fuck this up.
But, like, your paranoia paid off. Because,
Thank you.
Yeah, because you were, like, yeah, I can tell that you were constantly thinking about them and, like, trying to keep them dry and trying to keep them clean, and that's why your results are as good as they are. I think I may have told you this story when you were here last, but there was, like, a client a couple of years ago who they got a tattoo on their wrist, and then they emailed me a couple weeks later, and it had almost totally faded, and I was like, I got so down on myself.
Yeah.
I had messed up somehow, and I did not understand what went wrong, because the wrist is a place where a tattoo shouldn't fade. Anyways, I found out from one of their friends, like, later on, that they had went to the beach the next day.
Oh, okay.
And went in the water, and, like, so it's just, you know, you have to be smart, and you have to be honest, too, with your tattooer. Because I was really racking my brain with, like, how did I go wrong here, right?
Yeah.
How did I not mess this up for my next client? But aftercare is so important.
I bought from you this spray bandage, which was helpful for the finger tattoos. So I used that. And then, you know, like, I was kind of looking forward to not washing dishes, but I felt guilty. And then I was like, I could just wear gloves. So there's a lot of things I just did with gloves. And I did that thing where I knew I wasn't going to be traveling and washing my hands obsessively. So the point of my story is January is a great time to get your tattoos done.
Especially, like, over the holidays, you're usually kind of maybe off work or, you know, not going too far from home.
Yeah.
So it's nice to kind of just chill.
I remember getting the other tattoos though, and like, you know, if they're on your forearm, that's a little, you know, it's a little easier to protect and cover up with the bandage for 2 weeks. If the fingers was a little bit more tension, but I'm loving it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no regrets.
And the thing with fingers too is like we keep mentioning how, oh, they look great. Like, you know, I can't believe how good they look, and you know, your hard work paid off. But this is kind of just specific for fingers, right? Like, if you got a tattoo on your forearm, you shouldn't need a ton of touch-ups to it. You know, you might need a few spots with a hand poke tattoo. It's, you know, common for there to be a little spot here and there that needs a little bit of ink added to it. But for the most part, they should heal, like, pretty great and really easily. But fingers are just a little bit trickier.
You know, I'll be honest, like, I think it's hard to find people who will tattoo your fingers because they do fade. Like, and I know that too. Like, going into that, you need to know, because you wash your hands, you're using them all the time, they're in the sun, but you can always get them touched up. So
yeah, and I always tell people that too. Like, you know, before we sit down to do it, I always go over the fading thing. And there are some people who are like, oh, like, I don't know. Or I get a lot of emails, you know, can you tell me about fingers fading? Like, are they going to fade totally? How much will they fade? And it's like, you never really know until you get them, because everybody is different. Even if you do amazing aftercare, still might have some fading.
Yeah. We're not doing any shading on these tattoos because I like the way they look without the shading. But you were saying last time that if we were to shade them, it's pretty quick because you're changing the number of needles in the needle. Is that how?
Yeah. So there are liners and shaders, which are mainly the types of needles that a lot of hand pokers use. And liners have a little kind of bunch of needles that are kind of tight together in a little circle, and then shaders have the same thing, but they're a little more spread out. So there's more space between each needle, so it covers more surface area. So when you are shading, you know, you get more done.
Yeah.
Whereas the liners kind of like, you pull a tighter line with those. And then the sizing works like, so right now I'm using a 5 liner, which means there's 5 teeny tiny needles.
Wow.
And then if I wanted to, say, shade this part that we're doing on your ring finger here, I'd probably use maybe like a 5 shader 2, or maybe even like an 8 shader, and that will kind of like get it done faster. But the smaller it is, the more you can kind of get in the nooks and crannies too. So it kind of depends on the design and the place that you're filling in. So you just kind of have to look at what the design is and what the client wants in terms of like, do they want a thick line? Do they want a thin line? Are they asking for something specific like that? Or, you know, do they not care? And so what do you think is best? And it is true that a thicker line is going to, you know, stay better and has a better chance of, you know, lasting a whole lifetime. Whereas like, you're going to see some eventual fading, you know, as you get older, especially with the finer line tattoos.
Yep. Who taught you all this? Just yourself? Just trial and error? Yeah, the internet. Yes, seriously.
Trial and error is like,
that's okay.
How I learned how to actually tattoo. And then just kind of like the knowledge and stuff behind it was definitely just through resources on the internet and other tattoo artists. Yeah, it's kind of scary, but anybody can pick up a needle and call themselves a tattoo artist.
You know, there's so many ways to learn anything. You can learn by going to a class and watching someone else do it. But ultimately, you have to start doing it yourself. So whether you're learning from an instructor in person or on a video, I don't think there's really any difference. I mean, I take vocal and piano lessons online. I've taken it in person when I was a kid, and I prefer online. And like, you know, and then the rest is like the time you put in just doing it yourself. So I don't think it matters if you went to
Harvard to learn how to tattoo, or just do it, just start doing it, and then developing your own. Another thing is that's curious to me is just how you land on your own style, really.
I don't think many artists really get a quote unquote style down, like for a few years into their career. Some people definitely do, and that's amazing. I'm jealous of those people. But I don't know. I know the kind of pieces that I'm more drawn to, really like, I get really, really excited about. And then I know the ones where I kind of like maybe only take on a couple of those a month because they're not really my strong suit or just things I'm not super interested in doing, right? But I don't see myself having a style, but I've heard from other people like, oh, I love your style. And I'm like, can you tell me what it is?
Okay. Well, I think
I don't know what it is.
if you go on to you have a page on your website, and is it called Flash? Or
Flash. Yeah, those are like the available designs that I have for people to pick from.
Yeah. So I think if people go on there, like if I go on there and look, I did get a vibe for sure, but I also think there's a range of like, I don't know, I can't even describe what it is. When I see it, I'm like, okay, no, I get the range of things that she's done, that she likes to do. I can get a sense for what you really like to do, I think. But also it helps when you just say, and sometimes on your post, you're like, this is my favorite or whatever. Like,
like I love doing vases. Like that's like my favorite thing to do. So
if you need a vase, come to Bliss Tattoo. She's your woman.
My studio mate Pokey, she has an incredibly distinct style. You can really spot her tattoos like out in the wild from like a mile away.
Are you jealous of her nickname, Pokey? Like, are you like, oh man, I wish I would have...
No, I'm not jealous.
It's really good.
I like my name, but she definitely like...
You have a nickname? Or...
No, just like people...
That is her name?
Call me No, that's not her name.
Okay. People just call you Bliss.
People call me Bliss sometimes, and people call her Pokey. And a lot of people don't know my real name, and a lot of people don't know her real name. So, like, sometimes I'll see someone out, and they're like, oh, are you Bliss?
Oh, that's cool.
I'm like, yeah. And then they're like, I have a tattoo from Pokey.
Oh, that is so cool. That's a great stage name, too, if you ever want to get into, performing on stage. And then...
Oh, I thought you meant, like, stripper.
Well, hey, that could work. Actually, it is a great stripper name, I think. Yeah. Pokey is as well. I like the vibe in here. It's a lot brighter than any other tattoo parlor I've ever visited. And I'm not opposed to the dark. My wardrobe is black, like my stage clothes, and like everything's just black. But that was something I noticed. It's very bright in here, and there's a lot of different colors. And so was there a lot of like thought involved in that, or not?
I think me and Hannah naturally have kind of similar likes when it comes to style and design. And so that's one of the many reasons like we're such a good pairing. But we also definitely wanted it to be just like funky and quirky and cool, and a place where you come in and you're like, okay, yeah, I fit in here, right? Like that's how we want our clients to feel. And there's lots to look at. Like, it's not just like bare walls that, you can't distract yourself with anything. So yeah, it really just worked out in a really great way that we have similar styles.
That's great, because it's a small, right now, it's a small room, and if you didn't like working this closely with somebody, it probably wouldn't last very long.
No.
You and Pokey start getting into fights like it's not. And you've got needles like right next to you. It could get really nasty.
Yeah, I'm pretty lucky to have, we went to high school together, and we weren't like close friends or anything. but we both just got into hand poking around the same time a few years ago and met up for coffee one day, and we were like, we should team up and do this together. So that's what we did. It's been a fairy tale ever since.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's really bliss when you find the right, right collaborator. And it is, yeah, so it's just, you know, we don't really, I don't know if anybody achieves anything without some kind of help.
That's true.
You certainly do it a lot faster if you do.
Yep.
Does anybody ever cry or complain about the way it feels?
No.
Like this, the pinky's a little more sensitive.
The pinky is.
But it doesn't, not enough for me to leave.
Good. I had this precious gal in once, and she was getting this little thing on her finger, and it was very small. It took me maybe 10 minutes. And the whole time, God love her, she was like, ow, 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 ow. It was so cute.
Adorable.
Yeah, it doesn't happen very often, though. And I think I've maybe, out of the hundreds of people I've tattooed, I've had maybe, I can think of one, and there must be maybe another person that have said they think that this hurts more than machine.
Okay.
Yeah. It also is really dependent on, like, the placement, too, though, so.
Right. That's another thing that people often ask me. Does it, you know, I'm going to get a tattoo. I don't know where to get it. I hear it hurts more if it's close to the bone. Like, what are
Everybody's different.
Okay.
But there are some, like, you know, spicy zones.
Yeah.
Like your back, your stomach, hands, especially like top of your hands, inner thigh, feet.
Okay, that's a lot of spots. Okay, so we're covering the whole body
Pretty
surface.
much, like your arms and your legs are great spots if you're kind of maybe a little worried about
pain,
placement and pain. Yeah.
I found my forearm. That's what that is, right?
Yeah.
The forearm was great. For that was machine. But you know, larger tattoos. Yeah, I think maybe I forgot. Maybe who knows. Oh, these look so good.
Yeah?
Yes.
I like them.
I love them. I've gotten nothing but positive remarks. And, you know, I didn't think I was nervous, my mother-in-law would say, but she didn't say anything. So that either means I don't care, but like, that she, you know, she's not a fan of tattoos and doesn't understand, but I was like, oh, good. She just didn't say anything. That was better than her being like, why'd you get the tattoo?
Yes.
But my mom thinks they're cute.
Aww.
And, yeah, a lot of positive. A lot of people saying, I've been thinking of getting that. And I'm like, I'm doing the whole, like, look, I'll drive over with you. I'd love to. Yeah, so.
Gonna do some alcohol.
Okay.
Sorry to your hangnails.
It's okay. Did you get any more tattoos work done over the break?
Yeah, I finished my back piece over the weekend.
What?
Yeah. I just got back from Halifax this morning.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So it was the 4th session on Saturday.
How was it? How'd it go?
It was brutal.
Yeah.
I mean, we're done, so I'm fucking happy.
Oh, are you sore? Because it's a big piece.
Yeah, I am sore.
Oh, you're a trooper. And
They do get like a little dull after you've been working with it for a bit.
What?
The needles.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, so like it's not like as sharp whenever you, and I don't mean like literally, I mean literally, it is more dull now, but the line is not as sharp and crisp.
Okay.
So I like to get a new needle sometimes.
And that was a new needle when you started?
Oh gosh, yeah.
It's always a new needle.
Always a new needle.
And you're saying this like it could be disastrous if it's not. Like you can't just sterilize the needle?
No, not needles.
Really?
No.
Okay. Okay.
That's going into your skin. So, like, I would never.
I'd be cool if you just wanted to burn it over a flame and then stab me with an old needle. As long as it's not rusty. I'm like, I'm all for preserving, reuse, reduce, recycle.
This is not the time to be an environmentalist.
Okay. What do you do with the needles, like, after? Where do they go?
They go in a sharp spin immediately. So, like, before you even leave, usually, if I remember, sometimes I forget, but I'll put them immediately in the sharp spin as soon as I'm done poking you so that people know that they're never reused. Mm-hmm. It's like when you get a piercing, a really good piercer, after they pierce you, will show you the needle and they'll bend it and they'll show you them bending it and putting it in the sharp spin. So they never reuse anything.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I take it to my local pharmacy, and they dispose of it.
Okay. That's very responsible of you.
Yes.
I had no idea the afterlife of the needle. I wonder would they melt them down and then reuse them? I mean, that would.
I was actually just talking to my mom about like what happens to all the sharps.
Yeah. So how would your mom know? Does she know? Is she a pharmacist?
I don't know. No. She's
not. You're just like me, just be talking out your ass like. My mom might actually know. She was a nurse, so maybe she knows.
Because in Nova Scotia, I think it's a relatively new rule, but I think most pharmacies won't take needles like from me or maybe an acupuncturist. Like they'll only take like needles from like diabetics or so it kind of makes it hard to dispose of. Like my friend's an acupuncturist in Nova Scotia and she like took her needles in one day and he was like, I can't take those, sorry. And she was like, well, I'll just go scatter them all over a park.
Yeah, what the fuck?
And he's like, fine, I'll take them this one time. But I guess I have to like pay for her service to come to your business and collect them in Nova Scotia.
I'm at the point in the appointment where I'm like, I could fall asleep. Like it's that comfortable.
I love hearing that.
Yeah, these are fun facts for anyone thinking about getting a tattoo who might be terrified. What's your advice for anyone who's been for years, maybe dozens of years, think I wish I should, that'd be so fun, and then they just don't. Let's convince people.
Okay. Peer pressure?
Yeah.
So I think we could have a whole other episode about the tattoo industry itself and how I don't like a lot of it and the problems with it. But I think, a main reason why a lot of people are afraid to get a tattoo is because a lot of conventional shops are so intimidating.
Yeah.
Whether it's, the artist themselves, whether that person maybe had a bad experience at a young age at a shop and then just has never went back because they think, all shops will be like that, because sometimes that is the case, Majority of shops can be really intimidating and unfriendly environment. And I think a lot of people, it may be hard for them to see themselves in a place like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, I don't belong there. I don't fit in. I'm not cool enough. And I'm saying this as someone who said all of those things to myself for the past 10 years. And I still continue, when I go to those shops, I'm like, I don't belong here. This is not, the space for me.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to speak up in those spaces too. And that's why I'm really glad to see the industry changing bit by bit.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that with our shop, not to toot our own horns here, but we strive, client care after safety is our main priority, right? Mm-hmm. So we want to make sure that people feel super comfortable, super heard. And so a lot of it's word of mouth. I'll tattoo sometimes a young gal, and then her mom will email me a few months later, my daughter got a tattoo and it's just so cute. I didn't know they could be that small. I didn't know they could be that delicate. And your shop seems so nice. And she had so many good things to say. And I really want my first tattoo in 20 years. I had a bad experience, or I have a tattoo I hate. So it's I feel like we are kind of changing the landscape of tattooing on PEI, which is really nice. And so it does make it a more kind of inviting space for people to come who might be nervous about getting a tattoo.
Yeah.
My favorite, not to say I have like favorite clients, but I love
It's me. You're welcome. Yeah.
Yes, you're right. I love doing people's first tattoos. I love it. I love it. I love it. When someone comes in and they're like, I have no tattoos, I have no idea what to expect, I'm like, you have found your place. Like,
Yay.
I adore it because I want to set the bar high. I want to set their standards high so that if they do go to other shops, they know what they should expect for themselves and what, if they're, they have the no feeling. If they're not feeling super comfy, they can be like, I know that I'm not being treated right, or I know that this isn't right, and I can leave if I want to, right? So,
yeah. I've been trying to convince my husband to get a little tattoo. But then there are people who just are not into, like people who aren't into, I guess, wearing jewelry or, I don't know, any piercings or some people are just unconvincible. But I still deep down think that my husband, who will be editing this episode,
hi Dale,
that he will find the perfect tattoo and the perfect moment. We'll be together and it'll be fun. It might be the first time I see him cry. Discover that he actually has zero pain tolerance.
I think for a lot of people with their first tattoos, they put a lot of emphasis on it having to have a lot of meaning. Like it has to be the perfect thing. It has to be the exact thing I need it to be. And once you do that, then you'll put anything on your body.
Yeah.
You're just
yes.
Like, oh, is this easy? Okay, cool. I'll do this again.
You know what? My first tattoo, which is my zodiac sign, I'm a Gemini, and for me, it was just important that it was something I thought at the time I would never get sick of. Now, maybe that's just everyone thinks I'll never get sick of this tattoo, but I was like, well, I'm not going to get sick of my zodiac sign. And
it's not going to change.
It's not going to change. It's on my back, on my shoulder. I don't, I started it with the places where not everyone would see it, but I kind of wanted people to see it if I was wearing certain things like dress or off the shoulder shirt or something. Because I did pick something that I felt, it was me. But then, when I was a teenager, I remember thinking just getting a big yellow smiley face would be cool. But I'm really glad I did not do that for myself because I know that I would have gotten sick of the big yellow smiley face because I'm super sensitive to like colors and you could happiness. Happiness. I don't want to promote that too much,
Life sucks.
It's just emojis, I guess. That's what it is. It's an emoji, right?
It's an emoji. It's the OG emoji.
Oh, gosh.
My first tattoo is the word imagine on my wrist. It's a John Lennon tattoo. I got it when I was 15. Because I was in love with John Lennon and I loved that song and what it meant. And I will probably get it covered someday.
But that is a cool story. And like, if you just said, I just got the word imagine, but didn't have the John Lennon story, some people might think that was not as cool.
Yep.
I think it is brave to get words tattooed and names.
It is, yeah.
Unless they're your child's name, I suppose. But what if your child becomes like Jeffrey Dahmer? I mean...
Or what if your child changes their name, too?
Oh, that's right. Or they're, love my little girl, Sally, and then Sally wants to change, genders or, so...
Yep.
Have you ever had a tattoo removed?
No.
What's that apparently like? Do you know?
What? like painful.
Hey, we really?
Much, yeah.
What do they? How does it
The
work?
laser. Like you can look up videos and it's like zap 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 zap, and you can see it like almost like pulverizing these little bits of tattoo, and then it looks like it like instant. I don't know enough like scientifically about it to actually like educate anybody, but like it looks like it's like burning the skin.
Okay.
It looks more painful than actually getting tattooed for sure.
Okay.
But I can't speak from experience. It's actually something I'm kind of interested in like looking into, like learning how to do.
Okay.
But I don't know. Who knows?
People will come here for the bliss experience and the terrible painful removal of.
Well, removing a tattoo could be like really great too, right?
I mean, you're gonna make it that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking yeah.
I guess that would be great for the summer season, where when people aren't getting as many tattoos, you can then turn to removal. Yeah.
I'm curious. I wonder what the aftercare is like. Like, I wonder if it's kind of similar to getting a tattoo.
Well, if it's for a burn, yeah, it probably is similar.
It's expensive. Most people get tattoos they don't want covered up.
Right.
Unless it's like, I think a big thing with like tattoo removal is if it's in a place that you really regret getting, like maybe on your face or your chest or something.
Mm-hmm.
But I see a lot of videos of tattoo removal is usually on like places like that.
Have you done any tattoos on people's faces? But
No.
I wonder if I saw one
yeah.
but by the ear.
Yes.
That was cool.
Oh my God, I love doing that one.
A better question might be, what's the oddest place you've tattooed or someone's asked you to tattoo that you're like, yeah.
Oh, someone did message asking about like nipple tattoos.
Ouch.
Like getting like ornamental work,
Oh.
like right on the areola.
Ouch.
It looked gorgeous. Like the Insta picture she sent me looked really great, but it's something I'm not like totally comfortable doing. Not like because they're nipples, but just because of like the actual work itself. Like, I don't know
how it'll turn out.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to do your own and test it out.
do that.
How do you test that out without like, you'd have to get someone who's just like, I don't care what happens here.
Yeah.
Just, just whatever. Get what you get.
Yeah.
I'm not going to volunteer my nipples. That's, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So there are places you'd be like, nah, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I also don't tattoo behind the ear, which is like,
Oh yeah?
most people do. I just don't like doing it.
No, does it scare
I've done
you?
it a few times. You have to like hold the person's ear down, like bend it down, and then all their hair is in the way, and you're trying to like maneuver this long ass needle, and it's just not my favorite thing to do.
Right.
And I was doing it for like the first probably year and a half, and every time I finished, I'd be like, I fucking hated that. And now I'm like, why did I do it that?
Yeah.
So I just decided I'm not gonna offer that anymore. And some tattoo artists, like, they have certain areas of the body where they don't really like tattooing for whatever reason. And,
Yeah. I ask most of my guests this, like pivotal moments in your life where you went through a really tough time, but you obviously came out like on the better end because of it.
My daughter definitely changed my world. But I don't feel like she changed me. And I think that I hear a lot of moms who have babies and they're like, I'm just a totally different person and I see the world in a different way now. And I think that's great. And I think that every person's experience is like, their own and valid and all those things. And that's what I was expecting to happen. But I just feel like I'm still me. I just now have a daughter who's like the coolest fucking thing in this whole world. Aww. And I think I like that it's like that for myself, because before we made the decision to have a child, I wanted to make sure like I felt like my head was on straight. Like I wanted to feel like, okay, I dealt with things I want to deal with in my life, and I kind of feel like I'm on a good track, like mentally more so than anything, right? And I feel like I feel really well enough to bring a child into the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why I didn't have this whole pivotal moment. It was like, I don't know, she's just an addition into our lives.
Yeah.
She just fits in perfectly.
She came into your life.
Yeah.
Well, that, a lot of people have kids before doing any of that work that you did. So that makes sense. And of course, everyone goes through their personal, like work, let's say a period of like where they're having to do that more than ever in their life, or just a sense of like a awakening or becoming more woke and self-awareness and awareness of what's going on around you. Mm-hmm. Some people go through that in their 60s, their 70s, like not in, between the age of 30 and 40 or in their 20s. Certainly not in their teens, although you never know. But that's cool. That's cool to hear.
Yeah. I'm very, I've always been someone, I'm very sure of myself, and I trust myself, and I always have trusted myself. So, I don't know, I'm proud of my life. I'm proud of the decision I've made so far, and there's been nothing that's really happened to me where I've had to, take a step back and, readjust everything around me, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Which has been really nice. And I'm sure, my spiritual awakening time is probably coming.
Next week. Yeah, for sure, next week.
But, yeah, I don't know. I feel pretty lucky in that regard. Obviously, I've had struggles, but...
You didn't stay stuck for too long.
No, yeah.
That's good. I want my tattoo artists to be to trust themselves. So this all makes sense to me, and makes me even more confident with what you're doing to me right now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I don't want to say goodbye to you. Oh, I don't want to say goodbye to you.
Welcome to the Heartbeat Hotline, 1-902-669-4769. I'm the host of A Chat with Heart podcast, Christina Martin, and I'm so excited you called. Leave me your question, suggestion for the podcast, or a comment about this episode. Please be aware your message may be used on the podcast and social media. Tell me your name, where you're calling from, and it's also fine if you want to remain anonymous. Thanks for listening. Have a great fucking day. Thanks for listening to A Chat with Heart podcast, produced and written by me, Christina Martin, and co-produced and engineered by Dale Murray. Check out Dale's website, dalemurray.ca. The podcast theme song, Talk About It, and I Don't Want to Say Goodbye to You were written by me and recorded by Dale Murray. You can find my music on Bandcamp and all the places you stream music. Visit my Patreon page to become a monthly or yearly supporter of this podcast and my music endeavors. If you're new to Patreon, it's a membership platform that helps creators get paid. Sign up at patreon.com/Christina Martin. I would love it if you had time to share, rate, leave a review, and subscribe to A Chat with Heart on all the places you listen to podcasts. Wishing you, my little heartbeats, a great day.